What's going on, everyone? So, the Lakers basketball is officially back. We are expected to get a game. I wanted to wait to make sure that didn't get postponed or anything again. So now we're a couple hours away from the actual game. I want to keep this conversation strictly basketball and kind of the pros to the Lakers getting ready to start up once again. Again, what's going on in California is an absolute tragedy. I mean, I don't even know where to begin as far as like rebuilding and starting anew. Like, it's maddening. Hopefully that gets resolved sooner rather than later. But strictly basketball perspective, basketball side of things. The Lakers got some rest, right? Particularly LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They were doing some practices, doing some walkthroughs and stuff like that. And so I'm glad that the Lakers were able to kind of, get themselves right and prepare and kind of keep fresh during, this whole endeavor, right? And during this like little hiatus. Obviously the Lakers are going to have to make up those games at some point. I imagine they'll probably be like in the middle of the season or towards the end of the season. I'm sure that there's probably a gap somewhere where the Lakers, have 3 days off or something like that, and they'll end up having a game in the middle. So far, luckily, it was only 2 games that were postponed, and we'll see if that can kind of stay a trend and we don't get any more the rest of the way. But the Lakers getting that rest, I do think, is very beneficial. Again, LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I hope this isn't something where, like, those last 2 games are kind of stacked in towards the back, right? Where now they got to play, like, 2 back-to-backs to finish the year or something, where it's just like, yeah, they got the benefit of being able to rest a little longer, but in the end, it was worse because now they got to play twice as hard. Or it's something where, like, the Lakers, let's say they're a playoff team. Let's say they finish the 6th seed, right? Just keep it simple, right? They finish the 6th seed during the playoffs. Play-in starts, and then while teams are doing their play-in games, the Lakers have to play. Well, they didn't get any rest. They might as well have been a play-in team, right? Like, so to me, it just depends on where those are slotted in. Ideally, at least in my opinion, I'd like to see those kind of slotted in somewhere in the middle, like after All-Star break maybe. Like, so say the Lakers, they get the All-Star break, everyone kind of gets another hiatus, and then, obviously LeBron and AD and stuff like that will probably be in the All-Star game, but for the most part, they're just going to be kind of chilling, living their best life, and then going into get ready to ramp up for the back half of the season. I'm hopeful that maybe or right after, if you're going to have back-to-backs and stuff like that, that's when they have it. So you had a little bit of rest, so that way the Lakers can kind of jump right into it. But it also means that the Lakers, because we have this uncertainty of when those games are going to be played, the Lakers are going to have to make sure that they're ahead of the game here. Right? They're going to have to make sure that they're ahead of the pack here because you don't want those 2 games to be essentially, so crucial that it's the difference between you making the playoffs or not, or you being a play-in team or not, right? You don't want that to affect. You want those to kind of just be okay, hey, this is just, we're at 50 wins, this will get us to 52, something like that, right? Where now you're a playoff team, it's just, maybe those are the 2 games that are the difference between you being the 4 seed or the 5 seed, something in that range, but you're still a playoff team regardless. Also, depending on where the Lakers are towards the end of the season, right? If those were to get tacked on, if the Lakers are in a good spot, then you can kind of just rest guys during that stretch and just go hey, let's just get into the playoffs, just be a playoff team, make sure no one's hurt, everyone's good. If we lose to the Hornets and the Spurs at the end, then we lose to the Hornets at the Spurs at the end. But rest LeBron, rest AD, rest Reeves and whoever else is left, right? Just your main core guys or maybe your starters, rest your starters those games going into that. Again, a lot of variables that could take place between now and then. But it all starts tonight, right? Lakers got to take on the Spurs. Lakers are 2-0 against the Spurs. It's beautiful. Wish we were 3-0 right now, but we'll see what happens with that game later on. Got to go 3-0 now, right? That way you don't have to worry about it. You got the tiebreakers. You got to remember all these other teams were still playing, right? Luckily, the Lakers are still hanging on by the hair of their chins, right, to the 6th seed. So Lakers need to start putting some wins together, right? They're coming off a 2-game losing streak. Again, luckily they've had some time to evaluate and figure out kind of how they want to approach, how they want to attack the Spurs, and just the rest of the season going on, working on defense schemes, offense schemes. Obviously, it's been good for Jared Vanderbilt to kind of get acclimated. He's doing practices and scrimmages. There's little rumors going around that he may be back Wednesday. Talk about that in a video. But he's kind of getting acclimated. Dorian Finney-Smith is another guy that you're really able to kind of get him through some walkthroughs, better understand the defensive schemes, the offensive schemes, and all that, right? So there have been these players in particular that you've kind of gotten to admit there we go into the main guys and see how that kind of affects going forward, right? I mean, sooner if Jared Vanderbilt comes back, the better. Right, just give us another defensive, versatile guy. I don't expect him right out the gate to be the Jared Vanderbilt we know and love. I don't expect him right out the gate to, that's it, Lakers are back, baby. But I've said it before, as long as we get to the playoffs and he's starting to look like him, like the guy we know he can be, perfect. Right? If it takes him a month or two to really kind of gear up to that, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But as long as playoffs is vastly approaching and he's starting to now look like the Jared Vanderbilt we know and love, then beautiful. That's what I want to see from a Lakers standpoint. But Lakers got to make sure that they're handling business today. Last thing you want to do is come back from this hiatus and now you're on another losing streak and it's we're just going through this again, right? Spurs, they're not the same Spurs as last year. They already almost have as many wins as they did all of last year. They got this hiatus too. They've gotten to practice and work on how they want to attack the Lakers and how they want to approach this. They're on a 3-game losing streak, so you know that the Spurs, they're going to want to bounce back. They're going to want to come in and handle their business, right? And you beat them twice on their home court. You don't think that they'd love to come into LA and beat you back, right? These are all things that the Lakers are going to have to be prepared for. Right? I wish we would have gotten another trade during this time. I felt even before the cancellation of the games and all that stuff, something that I talked about is the Lakers just getting an opportunity to get a trade done now, because talked about how they basically are in California from a week ago now all the way to the 27th. It was essentially a 3-week period, which obviously it's not over. Maybe a trade does happen. After the 15th, you should start seeing a couple more trades kind of pick up. Obviously, as we move closer and closer to the trade deadline, you're going to hear more and more things, kind of rumors and speculation. Things are going to get pretty crazy here in the next week or two as we start ramping up towards the trade deadline. But I really wish we could have gotten somebody early. Right? I'm not saying you had to make all the moves that you wanted to make, right? But it would have been nice even just to get a center, Day'Ron Sharpe, Valanciunas, Nikola Vucevic, who the Lakers are, it's looking like it's them or the Warriors that may end up landing him, right? If you could have pulled something like that off, and then now you would have had kind of this week to get them acclimated as well and get them kind of adjusted to how you want that to look on the basketball court, I think that would have given you a bit of a head start. Fortunately, it didn't happen. Obviously, again, trades still need to happen. Hopefully trades get done sooner rather than later, because the more time you have to kind of work on what you need to work on and get to where you need to get, the better. But in the meantime, we know what the team is. We know what we need to do, right? Energy and effort is still a thing that Lakers still seem to have some struggles with, and we just can't afford that. You can't, again, Spurs are a team that if you don't show up, you're going to look up and you're down 20 again. And it's just here we go again, right? Victor Wembanyama, he's a guy that get hot. They have several guys. Champagne, he can knock down, 6 threes, stuff like that. It's a team that could run us out the gym if we're not careful, right? That wants to win, that is competitive, that are looking to really take some strides this year and kind of move into that play-in, that playoff spot if they can squeeze into the 6th seed. They're not in a position to trying to contend for championships, but they still want to be good. They still want to win. The players still want to win. The coaches still want to win. All of that. So Lakers are going to have their work cut out for them. I do think that there has been some benefits, and the Lakers kind of getting just kind of recoup or rest their bodies, particularly LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who have both been dealing with little nagging, little nuance injuries. Obviously, LeBron's been dealing with his foot. Anthony Davis has been dealing with everything, his back, his eye, his finger, his hand, his, head, shoulders, knees, and toes, right? It's just, so, for him to be able to kind of get back in and hopefully be well rested. Both of these guys can come in, inject in. We'll see when Jared Vanderbilt returns. He's still out for this game. Lakers are probably going to take their time bringing him back, right? Because like I said, I'd rather him miss another 10 games and then he gets to play another, the last 40 or whatever, than him rush back and then in 10 games he's missing the last 40, right? I'd rather have that trade-off where, take your time, make sure that, hey, he is good, he is ready, let's go, and then he can come back and start making that push, pull off some trades, and all of a sudden, Lakers might be back in business. Again, I don't think that there's any team that is an absolute juggernaut. Like even the Cavs, even the Thunder, I don't think that they're, Kevin Durant with the Warriors, where it's like nobody's beating this team. They're all very beatable, right? Does that mean that the Lakers will beat them? No, right? But, get the right moves, get the right trades. Suddenly you get the right matchups. You're in the conference finals again against Thunder or whatever. Take my chances, right? But it's got to be a step at a time. You got to take it a game at a time. And it starts here with this San Antonio Spurs game. Get this game in, get this game going. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think it was good that the Lakers got this little rest, particularly LeBron James and Anthony Davis? Again, everything I talked about was just basketball related, right? Obviously, what's going on is a tragedy, and it is terrible. But it's a basketball channel, so wanted to talk about the basketball side of things. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. Should have liked the video, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.